Hi crafty friends! Today I would like to share my process of my third index card that I made for the Index Card a Day Challenge by Daisy Yellow on Instagram. And for this card I've used packaging from a children's drink. My hubby brought me this because I often paint this mixed media faces, and he saw this in the shop and thought okay, this can be useful for a junk journal or something else. And today's the day where I used it. So first of all, I've cut this thing off and cleaned it from the inside. And then I cut this front piece, only this piece with the face, and dried it from the inside. And I've chosen this card with this blue and white stripes because I thought it would fit nice to this background of this girl. And then I tried to get some scraps that I get this color bridge between this purple apricot tone. I think in the camera it looks a little bit not like in reality. It's something like an apricot tone. And I wanted to get this a little bit in a harmony with this background. So I used the scrapbooking paper scraps and glued them down with a normal glue stick and this image as well. I was really surprised that this foil of the packaging sticked to my background with this normal glue stick. So obviously that's possible. I was really happy about this. The card was getting a little bit wavy, so I think I will put this under a heavy book and then this problem will be solved. From this scrapbooking element sheet, I have some fishies and this little label that says "for you." So I wanted to include this to the card. And I just tried to find a way to bring this image a little bit more included to the card. So I came up with the idea to paint this little floral elements, this little botanicals. And this is a normal corrector's pen, so that you normally use to correct mistakes when you write something. It's something like a really clean white paint in it, and it sticks to nearly every material. So that's the cool thing, that I also could use this pen on the foil of this packaging. So it's a matte foil, but it's a foil, and it's, yeah, of course, really hard to get some paint or something like that on it. But with this pen, it worked really well. And then I wanted to make a little frame around this card with some dots. I did that on one of my previous cards as well, and I thought that would look really nice. But belonging to this problem that the image of this little girl is on this plastic foil, I had to use this permanent marker, and I had this only in a really dark blue. And as you can see, this blue doesn't really fit to the rest of the blue. So I decided to take my corrector's pen with this white paint in it again and go over this frame with my dots, so that it in the end looks like this darker blue from the permanent marker is something like a shadow of this white dots. And I think I really like it, how that came out. So these dots are not such in the foreground. So yeah, I think that looks like a harmony. Then I wanted to have some splatters. So I used some white gesso and mixed it with a red brush color, and then added some purple. And that gave me nearly exactly the color that's in the background of this girl. So I splattered a little bit around, protected the face with my hand so that she not gets this splatters into her face. And so I think that looks really cool. The rest of this gesso thing I used for next card. So I just pressed the card into my gesso and then let it dry to use it for another project. Then I took my little label and distressed it. This is this Distress Ink vintage photo from Tim Holtz. And I just decided that I want the card a little bit more vintage, a little bit more of a contrast between this aged look and this modern comic look of this girl. So I decided to go around with my distressing tool here and the ink. And yeah, that worked really well also on this foil of the packaging. Another surprise that this stayed there. And yeah, so I think that fits a little bit better to this brown of the label. And I also went over this whole card in some areas a little bit more, in some areas a little bit lighter. Then I had these two little fishies there. I distressed the edges as well. And then I took this yellow fabric that's exactly the yellow of the fishies. So I like this idea to bring this little color spot to the card. But yeah, when it's only behind the label, of course, it would be a little bit too outstanding. But with this yellow in the fishes, I think it's a really good harmony. Then I took this wrapping thing, so that's made out of a really thin paper, so something like, yeah, a little bit thicker than tissue paper. And I just wanted to bring some yarn into this whole stuff because I wanted to look at a little bit more interesting, a little bit more filigrane and that stuff. And yeah, I just struggled around a little bit how much of this thread I can use. And then I came to the idea to bring this behind the fishes as well, so that they stand out a little bit more, so that the card gets a little bit, yeah, more of a dimension. And I also think that fits really well to this botanicals in the background, this white thread. So yeah, I brought the fishes to the thread and then glued my label there on the bottom. First of all, this yellow fabric, and then this little, yeah, thin paper and this label on top. And then I thought, okay, perhaps a little bit of thread behind the label, because yeah, it was too much of the thread for me in the top of the card. So I thought, okay, that would look nice and gets a little bit more of a whole thing. Okay, so that is my index card number 3. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching and see you the next time. Bye bye.